Me talking about you. Oh, should this be my thumbnail? Or should this be my thumbnail? Why can't people just be like, I'm gonna talk about this today, and I might like it. Oh!
Hello, I am hotness MUA, otherwise known as Vanessa, and today I forgot to film an intro. So we're doing it this way. This is the intro to the video. There will be timestamps below. I am doing a demo using the ABH Prism palette, swatches, and my final thoughts. So I will make sure I leave timestamps down below. And yeah, let's just get right into the video.
Okay, now we're on to swatches. We're going to finger swatch, which I'm sure you guys have already seen. Now I feel like these swatched really well the first time on the metallic shades when I put my finger in it, and now they don't swatch so good because they've got my finger juices on it or something. So that is the shade Lucid. Next is the shade Eden. These are just so you guys can see color. You know that it doesn't mean anything until you get it on the lid. Next we have the shade Unity. And Unity matches my skin tone, just slightly deeper and slightly more yellow. Sphinx is a great brown and it's very warm in tone. It almost looks copper. Sphinx. Osiris is a gorgeous purple, but it's like a blackened base. And it's got purple microfine glitters in it. Osiris. Sphere is that crazy yellow. I put some up here. And then Obsidian is like the gray black. This one I have to do twice to get a good swatch, but it blended really nicely on the eyes. First row.
I'm gonna go Rich Lex style swatches, swatch all over the place. Nothing neat or refined because I have pictures for that.
The next one is Dimension, and I almost feel bad about putting my finger in it because every time I put my finger in them, it does this. Here is Dimension, and it's like a silver violet. So pretty. Next shade is Parallel. It's very classic Anastasia. Super pigmented, very nicely blendable. Parallel. Pyramid. It's the gold in the center of my lid. Pyramid. Throne is the green shade and it is on both sides of the halo. I'd like to use this all over the lid on its own and not blend it out, because this one reminds me of one of my favorite indie brands, Omega, but darker. Next is Saturn, which is the orangey shade. Saturn. Urethral is a true bronze. Copper. This is a copper. This one has flecks of micro glitter in it. And then Lure. Lure kind of reminds me of a deepened version of Bonfresco from the Modern Renaissance palette. So this is the second row of the palette. If you want to see how I created this look and my final thoughts on the palette, then just keep watching.
Okay, let's start the demo.
Taking the shade Unity, and this is a Morphe like dense fluffy brush, and I'm putting that all in the crease. I actually dip twice, and then I go in with Saturn. It's the orange shade. I go in once with a smaller brush, and then I blend it out, and then I go in again with a smaller brush a little bit lower, and again blend it out. I use this tiny little Sigma brush and Parallel. Now I'm taking a small brush and I'm putting direct placement of Parallel in the crease, and then I'm just blending that out, and then I add more until I get the depth I want. Take this tiny little Morphe E18 and grab Obsidian. Now this is the lazy girl's guide to a halo eye, putting the colors where you want, but I'm using a dark base before I put the green shade on. I'm using a tiny little Wayne Goss brush to blend, and then I'm using a Morphe to add more blending and kind of spreading it a little bit into the actual crease, not a whole heck of a lot, but a little. I'm taking the shade Throne and I'm putting that where I put the black base for my halo, and then I blend the edge a little bit with the other side of the brush. Now taking Pyramid, the other metallicized shade, and I'm packing that onto the lid. And this took a couple swipes to get the opacity that I wanted. I blended out the edges, and then I took my little tiny wing Goss brush and I was working into that little edge where the black was and really trying to get the blend. And anytime you do those kind of things, you're probably gonna have to re-add like the Pyramid shade. I'm gonna add a little bit more of Throne. So I'd pack Throne on, and then I kind of blend the edge, and then I'd pack a little bit more of the other shade in the center, and then blend the edge, and then I redid part of the crease. I left that out, guys. It's boring, okay? I'm gonna just test out a little bit of this sphere shade. I just want a little bit. I wanna go back into Eden. Okay, so I'm gonna slap on some lashes, and yeah, we'll see the finished look. So I used that little flat brush and I reapplied the silver or the gold and the green, and then I pretty much just intensified that crease. So I put in the shade Eden and I used Parallel, and it's kind of direct placement again, guys. I use a small brush and then I blend it out, but I really wanted to see all the different colors.
Okay, so I put on some Tarte lashes that I got from Ulta. They're the goddess style. And I was thinking a little glitter along the top of the lash line that came in the little kit. Hopefully I don't ruin this whole look, being that this is supposed to be the ABH. So, you know, if you're in the market for something new, this little kit that I got that I thought was on sale that wasn't, this little Pro glitter liner, and it's pretty cool. I think one side is a shadow. I'm going off topic here, guys. I do that. One side is the glitter. Ooh, white gold is this shade. And the other side is the gold. So you could go, I'm sure, on top after it dried, or like I just did. Look at 2 reviews in one, and we didn't even mean to. So this is the finished look using the ABH new Prism palette. I'm gonna run through it real quick, guys, the pros and the cons of this palette. I feel like this palette is not everybody's everyday go-to palette. You could create a look, you know, a couple looks using just this palette, but I feel like it's more of a supplementary palette. Like you would use this with any other ABH palette if you had one. If you had Modern Renaissance, you could play. You don't have to stick just because Modern Renaissance is so warm. Doesn't mean that you couldn't use any of these funky, cool colors on the lid. If you had Subculture, I feel like these two together are perfection, because these are a little bit easier to blend. I mean, they're obviously a lot easier to blend, but the Subculture could just add that extra oomph, and that's how I feel Subculture is. If I use Subculture to darken something or add a little bit of something, as long as I'm not layering too many shades with it, it works out nicely, and I have used Subculture with this. So I feel like the two of them, if you melded them together, would be the perfect palette. My other thing that's, and I don't know if this is picky or not, but these shades pick up okay with a flat brush, the metallicized kind of shades, but because of your oils in your skin, they start to look weirdly compacted. Like I have not used this shade, and I've only used this shade with a brush. This shade I use with my finger, and it almost gets that layer on top. So see, if I give you a finger swatch now, it's hard to pick up. And when I first swatched it, no problems. But because I've had my finger in it, it almost like compacts the shade. And then if you use your finger to apply, you kind of have to dig in there. But I feel like they apply better with the finger than a brush, at least the Lucid shade. Let's see if I use another flat brush, if I can pick it up a little bit better to prove my points.
Is she crazy? Where's my flat brushes? They're all dirty.
If I really dig at it, See, you get nothing. Nothing. Now I'm getting kind of the edge in where it hasn't been touched with the finger, and it'll pick up better. Does that make sense? So that's just something to be aware of. If you kind of dig at them with your finger, you can kind of loosen that up and get the payoff if you're gonna use like a finger. I just dug in my nail and then I used it with my hand. So it's kind of a complaint because you can see I only used a brush for thrown and it doesn't have any of that. I use my finger for this one. I use my finger for this one, a little bit in that one, and then I must have had a wet finger or brush on that. So that is like, I know that sounds weird, but there's so many foiled shades out there, like Juvia's Place. It's super dimethicone based and you can go, and I had a hard time adhering them to my lid, but that's because I kind of have wrinkly dry lids right now. Just being honest. I don't know that I can blame the eyeshadow for that. I'm gonna blame myself. So overall, am I happy I have it? Yes. Would I tell people to buy it? It depends. It totally depends on you. And I feel like more and more people are getting their own sense of self with makeup now that people have been watching so much YouTube and they realize that a lot of YouTube has to do with a paycheck. They're starting to just use their own minds. And I feel like with this kind of palette, it's personal preference, guys. Do you have shades like this? Do you want a companion palette? Do you want something extra oomphy? Like somebody said that they hated this palette because it isn't a standalone, but it wasn't created for that. This palette was created as a holiday palette, something fun. How many neutral palettes do you have, people? How many? Tell me. How many Tartelette Toasted, Tartelette Original, Tartelette in Bloom, Too Faced Chocolate Bar, Too Faced Semi-Sweet, Too Faced Bonbon? Those are all neutral palettes. Nothing wrong with them. We use them every day. Now you could argue on the other side, like, well, I'm not gonna use this every day. But you could grab this palette and be like, lid shade, lid shade, lid shade, blah, blah, blah. So that is my argument for both sides of the coin. I'm happy I have this, but I am an ABH lover. I'm still happy that I have Subculture. I might be the only one. So thank you so much for watching, guys, this quick review and little demo and swatches and all of that kind of thing. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about it. And I have a couple other palettes. I need to know what you guys want to see. I have the Kat Von D and I haven't done any tutorials with it yet. Or would you rather see the Lorac Mega Pro 4 swatched and a look? Let me know, because that will be the next thing that I film. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.